So, welcome to the Northern Knits Podcast. We are two friends in fiber, knitting, crafting, sewing, and generally surviving almost quarantine and absolutely quarantine. I am Jocelyn. My co-host is
Mildly insane. My name is Diana.
I record and live in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Diana is still currently calling Stonewall, Manitoba home. She's hoping to change that this week, if at all possible, to actually get to her husband's apartment.
Only going slightly insane. Only a little. Only a little.
Monday. We just passed Easter. It is the 13th of April. Diana just realized when Jocelyn means self-isolation, she means she hasn't left the house in weeks.
It's not like I'm going on grand trips, but in a small town, it's really easy to not come within 100 meters of another human being. So I've been going for the occasional walk at least.
Once I'm allowed to come off self-isolation, I will also be allowed to go out for walks. I just, right now, because that's the doctor's specifics is self-isolation, I am not allowed to leave the house. Which is why I was warning you. I was like, you do realize that when you get to where you're going, to Waterloo, you park, you walk into your apartment, and that's it. You and your husband can't come outside for 14 days. You cannot pass that threshold.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a call after this and make sure he goes to the food store before I get there.
Wise. You're gonna need 14 days worth of stuff, and hope you don't get sick between here and there, because if you do, you're in quarantine till 14 days after your last symptom.
Gross.
I don't think people do the math on that to realize that could be 6 to 8 weeks easily.
That's just... Oh. Yep. But at least I'd be there, and I would be there with all of my stuff. I can actually get on with things.
You have access to your knitting stash?
Yeah, I'm surprisingly coming up on almost done with 2 projects. Mm-hmm. So gonna need some more stash soon.
Which is good, because I've got some test knitting that needs to get done, and if you aren't employed, I might try to sucker you into helping me with that.
Fair enough.
Knowing that I just need proof of concept, I don't expect you to finish on any sort of massively tight deadline, because I don't do that. I actually delayed publication of 2 patterns till next fall because it was just too tight of a deadline, and I was like, nope, not doing it. Nobody needs to stress this much. We'll worry about it next fall.
Yeah. Deadlines, what are those?
They are what I make them when it's my patterns. I'll tell you that much.
This is true.
Mm-hmm. So, do you want to let everybody know what we're going to cover this week? And I am going to sit here and try to quietly sip my tea. My computer chair is really loud.
This week we are covering What's in Our Cup, Cool Threads, Woolly Workings, Wool Gathering, and Kniterature. I keep wanting to throw a Yarn in the Go on there, but nobody's going anywhere with yarn, so.
If you don't take pictures of your yarn in different hotel rooms on your 3-day trip out to Waterloo, you don't get to talk about it either. There will be a reminder.
There will be pictures, fear not.
Woohoo! Pixar didn't happen.
Pixar didn't happen.
Well, you also need to get a good one of the octopus in her new home.
Yes. Yes, the little octopus has been proudly displayed in the dashboard of my car that has not moved anywhere in over a week.
It's fine. Not the end of the world. All right, shall we start with What's in Our Cup?
Yeah.
I said yeah, and then you stopped talking. So I thought you were going to dive in and start talking about what you were drinking.
I have this fun mug today that I guess is a bed and breakfast that my parents stayed at one time. But I have some Bourgogne tea, which is a mix of black and rooibos, and I added some cinnamon and cloves while I was steeping it, so it's got a slightly more chai-ish flavor.
Sounds delightful.
It smells amazing. Oh, black pepper. I also put a little bit of black pepper in it.
Weirdo.
You don't even taste it. It's more for the smell, honestly. Also, there are peppercorns in that chai. Is there peppercorns in chai specifically?
I don't know. I'm not a huge. I don't drink chai as much as you do.
Yeah, I really like the cinnamon, cloves, all that stuff.
Mhm.
That's my thing. I love that combination of spices.
It is your jam. It is your jam.
Oh man, if I can make
Unshockingly,
jam out of those spices.
mine involves ginger. I'm enjoying a cup of lemon ginger tea from Herbamat. It is a local cooperative that makes their own tea and sells it to the grocery stores and stuff here in town. In this case, I got mine from the co-op. So
Right.
it's lemon and it's ginger. I don't know what else to tell you about it. It's a good cup of lemon ginger tea.
No caffeine. Ugh.
I had a big cup of coffee this morning, like the sorry Santa, but naughty feels so nice. It's actually like 2.5, almost 3 cups of coffee.
Okay, that's a coffee.
I had a serious coffee this morning, so I don't feel like I need caffeine right now. I might in a little bit, but not at the moment.
Fair.
Depends on how much I argue editing this.
I guess that brings us to cool threads.
I don't go anywhere or do nothing. No, guys, I'm just I'm just in the house all the time, permanently. I've been wearing my Mallow cardigan and my cocoon cardigan when I'm sitting at the computer desk and doing work because it gets a little cold. I have a basement apartment, so strangely enough, I actually have one of those too small for me, but I keep them around because my mom likes them couch blanket things, and I've got it folded up so it's like a rectangle that's like this thick, and I rest my feet on it to keep my feet off the floor because otherwise my
Oh,
feet get so cold they seize.
that is smart.
Best thing I've ever done. I'm much warmer and I'm just much more comfortable for it.
I'm having a similar problem with my current desk setup. My chair is just slightly too low to be properly ergonomic, so it slightly cuts off the circulation and makes my feet cold, so maybe I will try something like that.
Yeah, I find it helps, just that touch. For me, it just takes my feet off the floor, and then I'm warm enough on my own if I'm not leaching heat out the bottom of my feet that I'm fine. But it's that or wear shoes all the time, and I don't like wearing shoes inside the house. I didn't grow up in a house that wore shoes inside the house, so it feels wrong.
I shall have to try this. I do have blankets around.
Mm-hmm.
Pro tip.
Thanks. I think.
All right. On my 1 walk, 2 walk, I don't know, all the days are blending together. On one of my few walks where it's easy to stay very far away from other human beings, I wore my Katie hat, my Find Your Fade, and the Bloomsbury mitts, which are the fingerless gloves. Because it's been cool and breezy, but not quite cool and breezy enough to justify actual mittens.
The spring sunlight today is lying to you. Don't open your door.
Yeah, it sounded a little breezy.
I think it's like a high of -8 or something.
Ugh, yeah, no, today is not a walking day.
Today is not a go. Oh, the whole week's supposed to be a little cool in the province. So my cat's been bugging me to open the window all morning. I'm like, not in the negative, sweetheart. I'm not heating the outside world. I'm sorry.
You will freeze solid in the windowsill.
No. What did the text call her? She's voluptuous enough. She'd be fine. I don't want to pay that heating bill, so it's not happening.
Fair enough.
Oh, my nose. Spring allergies arrived right on schedule.
Yep.
I suppose that's very quick what we're wearing because we're not really doing anything.
Not going nowhere, not doing nothing.
We should move on to things we're working on.
Yeah, we have been doing a lot of that.
Why not? Wouldn't you?
Depending on, I did repairs this week, so depending on how you want to count those items, I either have the same number of things or more things.
Well, repairs all counts as one, I think, is how we decided that one.
Then I have the same number of things to see this week.
Beautiful. I have been working on my mitered square blanket. I haven't put in like 7 squares. I put in like 5 squares this week. I'm finding it really nice to sort of knit and relax too while I'm listening to the news, which is generally quite stressful these days.
I've given up on the news. I just
Well, I keep hoping they'll cover stuff I want to know about, so we'll go from there. So last week I had 2 squares, and I've now added another 5.
Oh, cute.
So we're starting to get a nice mash of colors and textures going on here. I don't know like any of these ball band color names. I got nothing, guys. It's not happening. So I've almost made a whole row. I
Nice.
decided I was going to start by doing this, doing it 20 by 20 or 17 or 14. I don't know. I'm going to make this one row long enough till it drapes comfortably over me while I'm lying sideways on the couch to make sure it's wide enough.
Makes sense.
And then from there, I will stack the rows on top of each other till it's tall enough. That's how I'm going to do the math for this one.
I like the math as you go along measurement system.
Listen, after the math, I'm going to have to discuss next. The math as you go system is bringing me much joy today. Much joy. So they're all scrap yarn. It's all fingering weight. I tend to almost exclusively knit in sock yarns when I knit in fingering weight yarns. Diana can tell you I'm pretty hardcore about the nylon content. I like me some plastic in my sock yarn, but I use sock yarn for a bunch of stuff, so it's not unusual for me to. My shawls will have sock yarn. My socks are sock yarn. I'm a fan of the 80-20 base. And I like me my 80-20 base. That's pretty much what I exclusively knit on at the fingering weight.
It's a solid base.
I like it. And it's so versatile. It's like I can buy a skein and I can decide what to do with it later. Because I can, at the absolute most, make a pair of socks. Yeah. It works perfect for me. I do have some that are others. So like I've got leftovers from the Elizabeth Bennet shawl. So it's like I won't be using that because it's a single ply alpaca. That would be bad.
Yeah, that seems like bad blanket yarn.
Yeah, I've got some cottons. Won't be using those because those will go in something else. Because wool and cotton definitely have different care instructions.
Yeah.
But
I once knit a hat. My very first human-size hat. The only orange I could find was in a cotton, and so I have a hat that contains a stripe of wool, a stripe of cotton, and a stripe of acrylic.
What?
I'm trying to wash that and make it stay in a hat shape.
Nope.
Do not recommend. That was very early on in my knitting life. I do not recommend mixing fibers like that.
It's a bad idea.
If you're gonna mix fibers, like knit them together or something, because like stripe is not the way to go.
Nope. I mean, sounds like a delightful hot mess and might be a perfect Throwback Thursday photo.
It's the Jane hat that I made the robot a matching one.
Right! Okay, that is a perfect Throwback Thursday photo. We need a photo of you and the robot in the Jane hat, and I know one exists. Or
yes, university graduation photo, in fact.
So I know those photos exist, so we need to track one of those down because I think that'd be delightful. Guys,
There's one on my parents' fridge right now. I'll take a decent picture of the picture after this.
Okay.
I guess I could talk about the blanket that I've been working on. Oh gosh, it's heavy. Ugh.
It's like blanket sized, dude. It's not going to be light.
No, it's okay. Without pulling the entire thing out, because oh my goodness, at this point. This is a corner-to-corner blanket, and I just have to get this much down into one. I have like, wait, I can tell you how many rows I have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have probably like 8 or 9 rows left. I'm not quite sure on the math on that. But I have 8 or 9 rows left in a border, and this blanket is done.
Dude, you're so close.
I know, I'm so close on this blanket. I'm so excited. This one I might almost have done before I get to Waterloo. It's a housewarming present.
Yeah.
Ah. So this is the corner to corner blanket that I've been working on for like almost 3 years. It's a red heart pattern that I'm doing in Lion Brand yarn, in red, white, black, and gold. It's the Lion Brand
Heartland.
Heartland. Yes, the Heartland series of colors. They're all named after national parks or something. So it's red, black, white, and gold. But it looks so good. It's so stripy, and it's almost done. It's supposed to get a red border all the way around, but I'm not sure if I'll have quite enough red, but I have tons of white. So I think this is going to get a white border instead of a red border like it says.
Why?
But I think
the white border will look great. Oh, you say white, people might think white, like it's an ecru, like it's a cream.
Yeah, it's there's a I don't know. Yeah,
The
it's
black is definitely heathered.
yes. Can't really probably tell very well in this light, and the white looks very white next to the black, but it's more of an off-white into the cream tones.
Yeah.
So this monstrosity that covers the top of a queen-size bed doesn't hang down the sides, but it covers the top. This monstrosity is almost done. It's my time of finishing things. It's amazing if you don't have your yarn stash to succumb to your cast-on-itis.
You don't have cast-on-itis. You've never had cast-on-itis.
No, I have in the past, just not in the last like 2 years, mostly since we've been recording.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The last couple of years I've been all about actually finishing stuff. Whoa.
What you have right now is excellent time management skills because you don't have 50 million people pulling you in different directions.
That too.
It helps.
I have time and a limited number of things to work on. Oops, almost out of that red.
Yep. Yeah, I had a volcanic Sunday.
Was it fun?
It was delightful. I made a huge mess in my laundry sink, and the kids made a huge mess in their mom's house.
Was it an educational mess, at least?
Yes, it was. We learned all about volcanoes and eruptions.
Excellent. That is a beast. I'll be glad to have that done and not be lugging that places.
Until you wash and dry it.
That's going to be a load all on its own, but it's acrylic, so I can just wash and machine it. And dryer. So excited.
Any keen observers will notice I just shoved a ball of yarn down my shirt.
I am evidently not a keen observer. Why is there a ball of yarn down your shirt?
Because it's time to talk about the sweater.
Oh. Moment of silence for the sweater.
Moment of silence, people. Johnson tried an experiment, and it failed. Guys, we have been working on a podcast of String It Along. Diana has been doing some sort of pullover, flax pullover.
Yes.
And I've been working on the harvest cardigan. And I decided to not do the math.
Never a good choice.
I didn't want to. It's really hard math. It's not easy. It's not easy. When I made the mallow cardigan, it was done in pieces. So if you remember, I did the number of stitches for the back piece as though I was sewing it up at a size M, which is the dimensions for my back. But I did the front panels at the 3XL size, which is the size I need to go around the girls. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. I didn't do that with the harvest cardigan. I didn't want to do the math. It was all in one piece. And I said, you know what? I got to find out whether or not I'll be okay with it or not. Now, if you remember when I bound off the body, I said it's a little big. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Okay, when I say I washed and blocked it, I washed it and then I put it in its shape and left it to dry. So we're going to call that blocking.
Sure.
It's not even remotely at all what happened. And I wouldn't know for sure whether or not I could live with the oversized shape of it until I had finished my sleeves. So I finished my sleeves, I sewed up one sleeve, and I went to go attach it to the body. No, no, no. The whole sweater's got to come apart, guys. I literally need to go in and jigger the yoke increases so that they increase in the front to the dimensions I need them to, but not in the back past the medium size. So I have to cast on for the medium, and then I have to go up to probably a 2XL, I think I can get away with doing, on the front panel pieces. So I literally have to mess around with all the math. So it's got to all be ripped back because it's not, I have no shape. I am a square, and the square is the size of my chest, which is significantly larger than the rest of me. I feel incredibly frumpy and incredibly ugly. And that's not fair to the pattern. It's not fair to the yarn because I love the color. I loved working on it, and I've enjoyed the yarn. So I'm ripping it all the way back to the beginning.
Oh,
yep.
It's sad.
It is.
I understand that it's the right decision, but oh.
It hurts. I'm in that, if you got to take the Band-Aid off, you got to do it. So this is what's left of the first sleeve. I'm just about done ripping it out.
Ooh.
Yep. And I'm going to
for you.
I can't leave it. I can't. I will not likely cast it on again this week. I suspect I will give myself a week or two to mourn all of this work I now have to do again. Which I feel is fair.
But hey, the yarn's lovely and you get to knit with it again.
I am so happy with how the color turned out for this and the stitch definition in this. Like, I'm going to order more knit picks once all of this hot mess is done and we got a vaccine and stuff's going on and stuff's opening up again. I'm going to order more Wool of the Indies because it's a really freaking nice yarn to knit with. But I can't. I'll never wear this. I'll never wear it as it is. Never wear it. It'll sit in my closet and I won't wear it. It's not even that smexy, I stole my boyfriend's hoodie. It's just
the wrong size.
It makes me look like I'm twice my width. Sideways and front on. Like it's too big. It's too big.
Well, it's not a good look.
Which is hilarious because it sits exactly where it's supposed to in the front. All of the extra weight's in the back.
Ah, that's so annoying.
So, the front panel piece sections, perfect.
I wonder, could you like, not that I know a whole lot about fabric design or anything, but I'm wondering if you could like smock it, do like a smocking something or other around the waistline on the back panel and like cinch it in?
I took a look because I got a metric ton of hair clips. That is an accurate weight measurement for how much hair stuff I own that I never use. There's a black one that I'll use when I'm looking at drapey items to see if I can tailor it in so that I can wear them and they fit up top, but they're tailored in smaller underneath my chest. And it comes to the ratio of just how much extra fabric you have. So I couldn't even make a belt to sort of cinch it in the back like I do with, you've seen a lot of my open cardigans. They've got ties and I've got the tie tied up in the back.
Yeah.
And that sort of helps deal with it, but the fabric's too thick in a worsted weight. Like there's not enough drape going on for it to lay flatter. It's still like quite bulky, so it doesn't work. Yeah. Oh, I tried that because I am not looking forward to reknitting this sweater. I just want to bloody well wear the thing.
Oh.
Whatever. I'm probably stuck inside my house till the end of May anyway, so I'm gonna work on
content.
I'm gonna work on other things.
Yeah, definitely take a break from that.
At least a week, possibly 2, because I am not looking forward to that math. But it does mean I know what I need to do for the other sweaters, so when I open up other sweater patterns, I will just do the math, because I know I have to. Well, I refuse to only ever knit sweaters done in pieces.
It is learning. I'm filling time while I finish these last 3 stitches, because then I can talk about my sweater for the knit along.
My nose. So there's going to be a cut anyway. All right. I'm getting more comfortable with the software, the editing software.
Oh, good.
It's still finagly, but of the ones that I've been trying, this one is working the best with the accessibility tech. It's not good, but it's working better.
Yeah.
All right, let's commit. We're pulling out the bind off.
Ooh, so sad. All right. Shall I talk about my sweater?
Let's
Slightly
talk about
happier.
your sweater. Mine's depressing. We need something happy.
The good news about my sweater is I finished the body. Hey!
Woo-hoo! That is so good. It's so pretty.
And I'm so happy with how the contrast is looking. And no, I'm not trying to rub it in, but it actually fits, and I'm so happy. It's a very sad story. I'm really excited that mine actually fits.
It's not rubbing it in. I knew I was taking a risk and not doing the math, so it's fine.
It fits. It actually even looks kind of cute as a t-shirt.
Yes, it does.
Got half a mind to just leave it this way. Ta-da, I'm done. But let's stand up here, and it's like, I made it not quite as long as the pattern said, because I made it as long as my bold sweater, because I like the length of that one.
Makes sense.
So it's as long as my bold sweater. And it actually, like, looks really good. I'm just really happy with it. It fit. I'm so beyond delighted. So this is the Flax Pullover by Tin Can Knits out of Dye For You yarn in the colorways Pumpkin Spice, which is the variegated orange, and Charcoal for the contrast cuffs and everything.
Hey, listen, that's like your first sweater.
It is. I didn't even do a baby sweater or anything. I just jumped straight in.
This is not my first sweater, so...
This is my first pullover sweater. I have the Glam Lamb, so that, I guess, is a cardigan or something.
Yeah, that's a cardigan.
This is my first pullover sweater. I don't know. This sweater has sound effects now.
Of course it does.
It's really warm. I have to take this off. It's so warm. I'm going to finish it just in time for the weather to be far too warm for this sweater.
I really like how that contrast collar and hem turned out.
Right? I'm so happy I did that.
It looks
I feel
so
like
good.
without it, it would just be too orange.
Yeah.
I really like the gray that just tones it down just that little bit.
No, I think that was totally the right call. It looks so good.
And this is still going to be, I feel like it's not that bright, and this is still by far going to be the brightest thing in my closet that isn't a sequined party dress.
It's true, it will. I've seen your closet. It's a lot of black.
It's black, white, and gray. It is entirely black, white, and gray now. I did a purge while I was packing, and it is now entirely black, white, and gray.
Well, if those
except
are the
for
colors
the one
you're
striped
wearing.
party dress.
Yeah, I mean, if those are the colors you're wearing, it makes no sense to do the other ones.
So it means I can wear my brightly colored shawls and they don't clash with anything. I can just throw on a shawl and it matches because everything's black, white, and gray.
It looks like a toddler painted by numbers in my closet. You've seen my closet. It is nothing but white and color.
Yes, you actually like color. I seem to dislike color. Color. It's overrated.
Yeah.
As I sit here with my orange sweater.
Oh, so glad. I am so happy it turned out for you.
But as I'm going to stay on brand and not finish on time, which is Wednesday, even the extended deadline.
I could have finished if I liked it.
Ah, well.
I don't, so it's not going to happen.
It's better to recognize you don't like it and fix it now.
It would have just sat in my closet. I would never have worn it because I would have felt ugly in it, so I wouldn't have worn it. And that's, no.
Yeah, that's, no, better to redo it and put all the work in again for something you'll actually use than something that'll just make you feel bad every time you see it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I guess that leaves me with one more thing and you with your repairs.
Yeah.
All right. So for my birthday, I got 2 skeins of homespun Thick and Quick. It's super bulky. And with no Diana, we're relying on me to read my things. So let's pull out the trusty magnifier. Let's see if we can do this. Barrington. That's what they call it. So cool. I don't know, it kind of looks gray-green to me, but some blue in there. Camera's
Coming
definitely...
across a bit more, excuse me, it's coming across a little more blue on camera, but...
Yeah, it's a little more blue on camera than in person. It's definitely a touch greener in person. But I went and I was like, well, I clearly need to find a pattern. Heavens knows, I gotta have a crochet pattern that will use the right amount of yardage for 2 of these, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm short, as I've discovered, on house slippers. And this is an acrylic, which means I can wash this bad boy.
Yeah.
So I am partway through making a tall, slouchy, crocheted house sock. So
nice.
I've got my leg done, and I've got the heel flap done. So I just need to turn it into a sock and do my foot piece now. However, we're literally crocheting on an 8mm sized hook. So like a round is huge. A round is huge. So now that I've been looking at the instructions long enough, they make sense to me now. I can go ahead and do that. I should be able to have this one done tonight, sometime tonight, and then hopefully I can have the other one done tomorrow, so I can have a couple more house socks. I'm a little short on house socks. I didn't realize I didn't have that many till I got stuck here every day.
Yeah.
And I realized, no, I am in fact short house socks. I need more. Cool.
And as I recall, that's a fairly fuzzy, warm feeling kind of yarn.
It is. It's a beautiful acrylic, so it's got a nice, light, airy feel to it. And because it's acrylic, it doesn't breathe, so it heats up real good.
Nice.
Sometimes it's what you want. And when it comes to these hardwood floors on basement concrete, that's what I want.
Yes.
So, super excited. I'm happy to have it done. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to knit with it because I've knit with the Thick and Quick, and it's not my favorite to knit. But I do like the feel of it, and I do like how soft it is. So, I am happy to realize that I crochet in it just fine, and I don't have a problem crocheting with it.
Excellent.
I am happy.
Negotiate the stitch marker here, and then I can talk about repairs.
Ooh, you talk about repairs? We've officially started ripping the body out. That's because the other sleeve's in the bedroom and the cat's sleeping on it. I just left it there.
All right, so I have a basket of repairs that I've been putting off for a couple of years.
A cool age.
Yes, in fact. As you do. And so I figured, you know what? I'm going to get my repairs done for all the people that are staying in this province before I go to a different province.
This is wise.
And you know what? I repaired most of my repair basket in one afternoon. And the only reason I stopped was because I didn't have the buttons and the yarn I needed to fix the last 2 items, which are mine. The buttons and the yarn are in Waterloo.
Which, I mean, you really don't want me going and pointing out how productive you are when you're not as distracted. But look how productive you are when you're not distracted.
Yeah, it's almost like not having a job leaves me with all this time to do other stuff.
Like not having a husband underfoot leaves you a lot of time to do all this stuff.
That too.
He helps like my cat helps.
He does. Actually, exactly like your cat helps.
His behaviors while you're knitting are like my cat's.
Like a cat. It's amazing. Who needs a cat when you have a husband?
Well, yours specifically, I guess. I don't know if all husbands are like that, but yours is definitely like my cat.
Cat. And he doesn't like other cats. He's such a cat.
He is a cat.
Cat.
He's a cat.
Okay. So I finally got around to repairing these gloves that I made for my mom pre-podcast.
Oh, what is your mom going to do when she wears them out and you're gone?
Not going to wear them out again. So these are the Susie Rogers reading mitts, and I did them out of a loosely spun single ply merino silk blend, which I do not recommend for hard wearing items such as gloves.
Is that the merino silk that just sort of fell apart whenever Ben was in the room?
No, that was just pure alpaca.
Okay. My
This is,
ball of yarn just dove right out of my hands. You keep talking. I gotta go find my ball.
This was the Diamond Luxury DK, I think.
Yeah. I like the Diamond Luxury
The
stuff.
design on this is just, they look amazing.
I've
But
seen them in person. They're so good.
I took before pictures, but this whole area in the like forefinger and thumb, because my mom wears these as driving gloves, and this whole area in here just completely disintegrated. So on both gloves, in the same place on both gloves, I had to reknit the entire thumb, which I did a better job of on this one. So I'm going to show off this one because I did better. So I just picked up the stitches and cut the end of the thumb right off, and then just reknit the thumb. I twisted a few stitches on this one, so it doesn't look as good. And then for this chunk here, it had completely disintegrated. What I really should have done if I had more time was I should have picked up underneath this decoration-y bit and just reknit the whole end of the glove. But I didn't quite want to spend that much time on it, so I just knit a patch.
Okay.
So I picked up the stitches just right here, and I knit roughly in the same pattern, which is extra complicated because the nice scalloped edge of this is done by doing a row of knit 2 yarn over lace, and then you knit a few more rows of stockinette and fold it over, and you get this nice little scalloped edge. But of course that had like all disintegrated, so I had to knit this like flap and then fold it over and then figure out how to stitch it all down. So it's like, it's not the best repair job, but because it's thicker, it should hold up better.
Here's hoping.
So I don't know. It's not the best repair job, but it works. So there's those ones. These ones are not as interesting. I had actually repaired these like a year ago. I had just put this little patch on the ball of the foot, but I had not anchored it very well, and so the patch was still in perfect shape. It just came detached from the rest of the sock because I hadn't attached it far enough in, like where it was structurally sound. So I just took some of the sock yarn from my brother's mitts that I finished last week, which those were already done, but those got gifted, so yay, those are out of my life. But I just took some of that yarn. You can't even see. I just stitched the edges of this down really well. Yeah, you can't even see. So I did on both patches of these socks, which are a cotton bamboo blend, which feel amazing. Also do not recommend doing socks out of these because, again, they wear out on the bottom. They do feel really nice, though, I have to say. And they're so drapey. I would highly recommend a cotton bamboo blend for, like, if you want to do a slouchy hat or drapey shawl. That would be fantastic. Maybe not for socks, but it does feel nice.
Cotton bamboo summer shirt, anyone?
Yes, that would be amazing. And then these are, I believe, store-bought gloves. Not quite sure. These are a pair of my brother's gloves that he gave me last winter to fix. He completely worn out the thumbs on both gloves. I don't know how. The rest of the glove is perfect, but the thumb was just gone. So I just so happened to have had some bulky gray acrylic left over hanging out in my knitting bag from the Glam Lamb, which is close enough in color and weight. It's not perfect. You can definitely tell there's a patch there, but it's close enough. So I just knit a rectangular, I just picked up the stitches here, knit a rectangular patch, and then stitched it down at the top and the sides. Yeah. And so, you know, it's bulky, it's not perfect, but.
What was he doing to his mittens?
I don't know, this one had much less of a hole, so I just took the yarn and did like a whip stitch around the one column of stitches that was actually falling apart.
Okay.
So.
Your whole family. That thumb
My
reach.
my family hates thumbs in their gloves, apparently. I don't know.
That's impressive.
So now the only thing left in my repair box is a pom-pom that needs a bigger button to stay on the hat that it was made for. And I found the pair of my socks that I knew I had somewhere, that I'd stashed somewhere because they needed repair. They're out of the same yarn that I made. Remember the socks last January for Year of the Sock, and I accidentally made them too big and I gave them to you?
Yeah, I wear them all the time.
I knew I had a pair of socks like that I'd made for myself ages ago, and that I'd stashed them somewhere for repair, but so I found them when we were packing to move.
You put
Now
them
I just
somewhere
didn't have.
safe.
I did.
Somewhere safe.
So they're now safely in my repair basket where they belong. So the instant I get back to Waterloo, I know exactly where the yarn for them is. I can fix them, and then I can have another pair of hand knit socks, because those have been missing out of my drawer for probably 3 years, because I definitely finished those pre-podcast.
Oh my god.
Actually, I'm pretty sure I finished those pre-moving out. So like 5 years, 6 years ago.
That's sad. That's
And
sad.
I probably wore holes in them within a year or two. So they've probably been lost in the repair hole the entire time we've been podcasting.
Yeah, because I've never seen any hand knit socks that are the same color combo as the ones you made in January.
I know exactly where they are. I can show you.
Excellent, excellent. I'm glad we solved that mystery. I know you had said you would knit another pair of socks out of them before you knit a pair of socks that were originally for.
I did. Look, they're here, right here.
That's hilarious.
They've just been missing for like 3 years.
Oh.
Anyway, they don't even need that much of repair. They don't even have a hole. Like, just there's a couple of weak spots on the heel, I think. Like, I can't even tell without putting them on. Like, they don't even have a hole. They just have a thin spot. Like, this would be the easiest repair in the world, and they've just been sitting lost in a box for 3 years.
If there was ever a sort of endorsement for cleaning your space and not keeping extra crap, right there.
Yeah, you lose whole pairs of hand knit socks.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, clean your space.
I mean, don't take my word for it. I lose stuff all the time. I blame that on the vision loss.
Yes, well, you have a really good excuse.
I do.
I do not.
And about this size, which is like what? Small tennis ball size? Whenever I'm hand winding a ball of yarn, it just explodes out of my hand. Every time. Whatever.
All right, that is all of my woolly workings.
Ooh, which I suppose moves us to wool gathering.
In fact, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Usual 2 suspects, I believe. In fact, so there's my show notes.
The podcast anniversary closes in 2 days, so it will be closed by the time this episode goes up, because I need to have it edited up tomorrow for Diana to get it done before she leaves on Wednesday.
Yes.
So it'll go up. But if you've got your entry into Ravelry, great. We'll have pulled names at this point. I will contact the winner before next week, but we will announce the winner next week, and they will get their prizes. So that'll be fine, because we're doing electronic prizes this year. And then for a minute, that wraps up the podcast anniversary knit along. So I mean, like, we're in the super home stretch, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we're done the home stretch now by the time everybody sees this.
Yes, don't mind me. I have to go fetch my ball of yarn again.
You need a yarn bowl or something. No, I guess that doesn't work if you're winding it.
I'm winding. Doesn't work. Come here, ball. And it's a nice dark red underneath a table, which means I can't see it the moment it goes under the table.
Perfect.
Because any shadow eliminates my capacity to see. It's great.
You would.
Whee! Fall out of my computer chair. All right. I fetched it.
Podcast anniversary, so that leaves Patreon, the other P word. The monthly Patreon knit-in is this Saturday, and I should not be on the road that day, so I will be there to participate, hopefully from Waterloo this time.
Woo, exciting! Starts at noon Manitoba time, and it goes for about 2 hours, give or take. If you're a Patreon member at $5 or more, Diana sends you a link, and we chat about all the things you're working on.
It's fun. It's like a group podcast, kind of.
Yes, it's good. It's fun. I like doing it. So.
It's so fun to see what other people are working on, and especially when people are working on so I get so excited when people are working on things for things that we've started or that we got people onto, and people actually listen and care and they do the things. I'm just
if you were on the social media more.
I know. All this free time, and I've forgotten about. I fell down a TikTok hole, and I've forgotten about all other social media.
No, I'm not on it any more than I was before. I'm not.
I have just utterly forgotten that other social media exists.
But I'm not interested in TikTok.
Totally understandable and completely reasonable, and a little bit wish I hadn't fallen down that hole, because I'm not climbing back out anytime soon.
Well, it's visually orientated, hey?
Yeah.
Videos. Cool. Not really holding much appeal to me.
Yeah, that's...
Share your day in a GIF or a GIF, however you want to pronounce it. I don't care. I can't see 2/3 of them, so what? I don't participate. I also can't see emoticons. If you guys could see the knitting chat group that we have for the little small knitting group that we're both a part of, they actually post smiley face emojis or whatever emojis, and then in brackets they tell me what the emoji is because I can't see it. Just this little yellow blur. And that's for thumbs up, thumbs down, little humans, eggplants. They're all just little blobby colors. I cannot tell you what they are.
That's all right. The thing about putting it in parentheses after is that we could make sure that it's interpreted in the correct way. The big toothy grin, sometimes you mean it's a big toothy grin, but sometimes it's a grimace, or it's, you can add some extra context to it that might be misinterpreted in emoji. So
yeah, which I think is great.
Yeah, works for me.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that they have thingies if you have an Amazon Dot or an Echo? I want to see if they have them for Google or internet things where you could do choose your own adventure radio play games that are completely auditory.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. I gotta see if I can find any that I can do with my Android, not just my Apple stuff, because man, it would be so much fun.
That does sound fun.
Something I don't have to open my eyeballs and try to focus on. Yay! Is it?
Catch a new ball of yarn.
Shall we talk books? Are we on to books?
Yes, we are on to books.
I've not been doing a lot of reading this week.
I devoured an entire book this week.
Well, I mean, I did 2 books, but it's not a lot of reading for me.
On your glowing recommendation, I listened to We Are Legion, We Are Bob in 3 days. Mm-hmm. And it's a fantastic book, and I have downloaded the second book in the series, and I can't wait to knit and listen to it later after this.
I finished book 2 of the Bobiverse series, We Are the Many. All hail the Bob.
The Bob.
You still can't say anything about it because if you stray too far, I start gushing and I could spoil it for you guys. It is not an intro science fiction. It is not there are too many inside jokes. There's too much just sort of nerd culture built in.
Oh, I love all of the nerd culture details.
Which is amazing if you're a part of the culture, but if you are not, this is not the book to start with.
This book can never be made into a TV show because just the amount of money it would take for the copyright on all of the IP that it references.
Nope, not happening.
It will never be a TV show, and that makes me a little bit sad. But it's so good.
So it's one of those ones where it's like, if you're into science fiction and it's been a part of your life, like nerd culture has been a part of your life for a good long while, do it. The book's really good. If you're just dipping your toes in, there are other ones I would recommend first to sort of get your feet wet. Part of the joy of the book is getting the inside jokes.
It is. That is a lot of the charm of the book. Right? The author is clearly an enormous nerd and an engineer of some sort.
So, a very good book, really well written. I'm super happy. I finished book 2. I'm going to put book 3 in the queue as soon as possible. I've like abandoned my TBR for the month because I just want to listen to the Bobaverse.
Must know more about the Bobaverse.
Listen, there's Bob Moot. There's Bob Tube. There are things still to do, people. Oh, goodness. So I enjoyed that. I also finished Crudmeyer's The Darkest Night by Gina Showalters. It's a part of the Underworld Lord series. I had read book 2 first, and it's fine. I don't have a problem reading romance novels out of order. So I went back and did book 1. Turns out my problem with book 2 was the female protagonist. I'm enjoying book 1 just fine. Or enjoyed book 1 just fine, because I finished it this morning. So I will either move on and listen to book 3 or pick up another series for a bit. So listen, I fell down a Gossip Girl hole and a Time Team hole. Those are very different TV shows.
Yes, they are.
I love Chuck and Blair. Had to watch. So I have been spending my week either watching archaeologists do 3-day mini digs in the British Isles or watching a 2000s teen drama.
It's okay. I watched all of Tuca and Birdie on Netflix.
Okay.
My IQ definitely dropped, but at the same time it deals with amazingly heavy subjects while being a completely crude and irreverent type of show. It's just a weird show.
Hey, listen. Everybody's got tastes and they aren't all gonna match.
It is crude and irreverent, but 100% geared for women or female identifying individuals. But while doing all this crude irreverent humor, it also deals with like relationships and mental health and like sexual harassment, and it's like surprisingly heavy subjects.
Good. I'm glad.
With humor. So it was a surprisingly good show.
I can't handle the crude. I check out. I'm done. I have no tolerance for it.
Fair enough. I wasn't sure about it, and it's not like they're 25-minute episodes, and you're not going to binge all 10 all together at once. I did like 3 was my maximum, because otherwise my IQ was just dropping too far.
That's all right. I've been that way about crude shows all the way back to my teenage years when South Park was the thing.
Yes.
I didn't like that either.
I suppose I should write down these shows that we're talking about.
Yeah, sure. That's okay.
Go.
Random cut at the end for no reason.
That's okay.
It happens. All right. In which case, if we're all done, I will say until next week, I'm Jocelyn.
And I'm Diana.
And no matter where your week takes you,
Don't forget to.
Hey, that was closer.
Hey, okay, so if I start what feels really early for me, it comes across almost on time for you.
Yes. I don't know. We'll find out when I'm editing how close we were.